Hi, my name is Sabika Bello.
And my name is Hauwa Saleh.
So, Hauwa is a reporter at HumAngle who covers
Gender, displacement, and development.
So today we'll be speaking to her about her work reporting things around gender, violence against women, and all the impactful things she does with her work. So we are in the 16 days of activism. Can you tell us a bit about that and the significance of it, especially for reporters like you?
16 days of activism is very important because women's rights are human rights, and it's long overdue that we are having these days and talking about this.
Yeah.
We don't want to have this days. We want it to end, but it doesn't end, so we have to do things about them. About the issues affecting women across all chapters of their lives, from the homes to schools, workplaces, everywhere.
Yeah.
Women are not safe on the streets, they're not safe at home, they're not safe anywhere, at work. And so but it's not just about safety, it's also about the essence of what makes us human, right? It's been taken away by all these rules, all these systems that are designed to kind of keep us small and keep us down. 16 days of activism is very important for like journalists. It's also important for the woman that is selling alcohol at the roadside. It's also important for the 3-year-old and the secondary school student, It's important for every single woman. So I won't say it's important for journalists, but I can say the importance for journalists, female journalists, is that for journalists who cover gender, is we can actually use this as an opportunity to highlight the voices and uplift the voices of those women, because we're not speaking for them, we're just helping them tell their story.
Yeah. And like the managing editor would say, you bring refreshing perspectives to these stories, and I really, really agree with that. I think it's true. So of all the reports that you have done, what would you say was your most impactful work on gender?
I would say it's I actually have two that I think that are my favorites, personally. I would say it's the purity culture story because it's very fresh, and even when I was researching, I was mostly finding opinion pieces on African and Nigerian context. Like I see opinion pieces, I see personal stories, but it's really hard to get it in journalism context, So I would say that that's why I actually think it's very important, because I see the way pop culture impacts a lot of the women around me, and I see the way it also impacted my life. And there's so many stories that comes out of being around or just being raised in an environment that practices this kind of culture, because it cuts across. It's not just about, oh, don't wear this or don't do this. It cuts across, it affects healthcare. In the story that I wrote, the Sudanese woman that I interviewed literally had healthcare denied, vaginal ultrasound denied, because the person didn't want to, the doctor assumed she was a virgin and didn't want to go ahead with the distance. And literally women struggling with PCOS, going through, like, if they have to do a transvaginal ultrasound, there's this issue of shame, and also sometimes even doctors making decisions for them. And there's also it affects how women see themselves. A lot of times when you talk to women in PG culture, they'll tell you that they disappear. For years, they don't see themselves. They'll look in the mirror, but they're not there. You don't really see yourself in the mirror. You don't see your body. So it's a journey coming back to see your body, thinking that you have autonomy over it. And then I think one of the most serious things, those are serious, but one of the most serious things is the way it promotes. I feel like the basis of rape culture is spiritual culture. It shames women for basically existing, and people talking with spiritual culture, they will tell you that when they get abused, or assaulted, even if they are kids, they feel so much shame that they can't come out and say something because they're going to be blamed. It's because they did this. Spiritual culture, FGM, is basically caused by spiritual culture. Honor killings, the basis of it is spiritual culture. So it's a very big issue affecting women in all aspects of their life. And this burden of rigid culture, yes, it exists for men, but at the same time, the way it affects us is differently. For men, mostly the way it affects them is the it's in the way it's in their unrealistic views of sex. It's in their unrealistic views of their masculinity. Kind of it enforces gender roles. But for women, it's everywhere. It's everything from the way you see your body to the way you're treated. Because society likes to divide women, right? Good women, bad women. If you go to a club and you get assaulted, it's because you're a bad woman. Why didn't you just stay at home? But you're still called a bad woman, even if you wear a hijab, you wear a niqab, and then you're assaulted, right? But somehow for people that society considers bad women, there is little room for justice. There's little room for even just seeing their humanity, because whatever you did, you deserve it for not fitting into this box that I've decided to put you in. So that's why I think it's so impactful. Even if it's just a woman, if they like to listen, reading the story and being like, I'm not alone, that is impact. These women that have gotten an opportunity to tell their stories, that is also impact. And I'm hoping that it will open more rooms for, structural change. It's not just enough that we talk. We need structural change. The system needs to be, we need to do with the system and bring in a new one, because it's not working for half the population of the world. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So you spoke about justice while you were speaking, and a lot of times we wonder what justice really looks like for survivors. I know we had a conversation during the conference last week about how sometimes for survivors justice is just an apology. They don't even want perpetrators to be taken to court and all of that. But for some, that is what it looks like. So
I feel like justice is subjective, because, like you mentioned, what's just to you might not be just to me. But I think justice for survivors generally is going to look like being believed. That's number one. Being believed, and then I think justice should also look like, for government policies, why is it so hard to protect your assault, justice should look like safe spaces for survivors. Like we're looking at more women shelters for survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence. And I think sometimes the reason why women can't bring themselves to go to court, it's sometimes because of the hurt. You don't even want to have anything to do with the perpetrator, but sometimes also because of shame. There are many times that you see families of children that were sexually assaulted refusing to take them out of court because, what will society say? People are not going to. What if my daughter grows up and nobody wants to marry her? Because somehow we treat, this brings me to even language, defilement for sexual assault of kids. Why are we using that in our laws? It doesn't make sense. Because it's showing that they have somehow become tainted. But they're not tainted. There's nothing defiled about them. So I think we need to change our language also. And also focus also the language of sexual assault on perpetrators, because that's where the problem is. But it's the default for us. It's normal. We see it as, we don't even think of it. It's sometimes when you're talking to a guy, I don't need to just say something. I can remember I was sitting with some of my brothers some other time and we were having a conversation, and then one of my brothers was like, one of his friends said that she feels like unsafe if she sees a bus or a kiki and it's just guys in there. So she doesn't enter the kiki. And they're just acting in shock, like they're acting like it's something.
What's about this?
And I was like, I knew that when I was like 9, 7. The women around you are always constantly trying to protect you. And the women around you will, for instance, the women around you will tell you, don't go into the press cutters. Don't do this, don't do that. You see that girls as young as 5, 6 are being policed. And then these people who are like in their 20s, in their 30s were shocked because it was alien to them. I was like, we really need to exist in different realms, because I don't understand how this is news to you. You have sisters, we grew up around women, but somehow it never occurred to them. I feel like if not for insecurity in Nigeria, most men will never know what it feels like to feel unsafe. But for women, it has been the wholesale that way. It's kind of like It shouldn't be, but it has kind of become like a way of existence. We know not to go out at night. We know not to. If you're going to reject a guy, you have to do it nicely, just in case he decides to hit us with a car or, So we have to constantly check our actions. And that's these issues, this lack of justice, this injustice that steals from your humanity, because that's what it does. It steals from your humanity. You can't exist as a full person anymore because you're constantly editing and checking yourself. I think the language is kind of like, well, women should dress better. You should not go out at night. That is not a solution. There are many reasons that could make me go out at night, right? That doesn't mean anyone deserves a right to kind of sexually assault me just because I'm outside. I also deserve to exist in this world freely. And I think this lack of justice that is kind of creating more health problems for women, but then the system is also unfair. The system is also unjust because I think there are researchers that show that women are more likely to end up with like autoimmune diseases, chronic health conditions. And the thing is, that's usually, maybe some people say that it could be as a result of constantly being expected to hold back, our emotions and express our healthy anger. And that leads to kind of like, some people say it leads to like inflammation in the body, or other people said that it leads to other health conditions, heart attacks, hypertension, gut issues. And the medical field is not designed with women in mind. Most of the research and most of the drugs for gender neutral drugs that we have are not all of them have been properly or adequately researched on women. So that means it's possible that you're taking a drug for hypertension, and it's possible that maybe it's working differently like it would do an average man, because it's either you end up with more side effects or it doesn't work properly for you because enough research is not done on women, because a woman's body goes through a lot of changes. And that's why I wanted to write about my second favorite article is about medical misdiagnosis and the lack of researching, especially issues that are specific to women, PCOS, endometriosis, fibroid. It's just constantly dismissed. Women are more likely to suffer from medical misdiagnosis and gaslighting. You go to a hospital with an issue and the doctor tells you it's just in your head. Everyone can suffer that, but women suffer that significantly more. And that leads to, women dying for conditions or suffering too much for conditions that will have been taken care of as the doctor has just listed. But sometimes this doctor is not out of malice. They're not doing it because they're a woman and they just want to put you down. It's how the system kind of like taught them. So they find it easier. There's a misconception that women are hysterical, dramatic, over emotional. So when you try to express yourself, these are the labels that will be given to you, even in the hospital. So it was something that I think it's this concept. Imagine this concept of justice in my head that makes me think we need more stories on medical. Way too many women are suffering and dying because of these issues for it to be dismissed. It's just in 2023 that they're starting to do research on to use female dummies to do research on car crashes.
Now, a team of Swedish engineers are in the final stages of developing the first ever female crash test dummy.
Literally all the dummies, that is for seat belts, blah, 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 have been men. All the simulations that we did have been kind of like male body dolls. It's just now that they're including, 2023, that they're including female bodied dolls. So it essentially is not it's not something personal. It's not like, oh, this guy doesn't like women, so we don't like him. It's about how this misogyny is dragged into laws, it's dragged into policies, it's dragged into entertainment, the issues in the entertainment industry, it's dragged into medicine, it's dragged into scientific research. Because most people think, most researchers, or the people who fund them are men, they don't really think much about, we want to do, pour money into PCOS, because why would we, so it's an issue that women issues are significantly under researched. And I think it's even worse in the Nigerian context because we have problem with research, and even worse when it's research about something that's affecting women. So justice should look like inclusion. I'm not talking about it like somebody giving you one seat in the room for a woman. I'm talking about actual inclusion, where, in fact, where your gender shouldn't matter, but it does. It affects all aspects of your life. So justice should look like gender not matching in the way that we make it look in society, because at the end of the day, it's women that suffer that.
Can you tell men, like, what role should a man play in this? What can a man do to help the struggle?
About the words for the ending thought for 16 days of activism, it's that society needs to change. It's a grassroots change. It's not going to happen. Policies will not change if people don't change, right? How do you treat your sisters? How do you see them? Do you see them as humans? Do you see them as people who are capable, or do you see them as tools to make your life easy? Your partners, your spouses, how do you treat them? It has to start, but also it has to start with women also have to change. But it's not easy, because when you're kind of like a victim of a system that tells you, that uses culture, uses religion to guilt trip you into staying in a box, that tells you when you speak about this, when you say this, you're not even allowed to speak out for issues that are happening to you because you're doing something wrong. So I think it's very difficult for women to change, but women are changing. I see so many women changing their minds, women becoming more embodied, unlearning purity culture, and it's such a great thing to witness. But at the same time, it's not enough that we change. We need men to change. We need them to. Privilege is not saying that life is 100% easy for you. It's not saying that you don't have any problems. It's saying that there are certain obstacles that someone who is not in a position may go through, but that doesn't mean that even if you do go through that, it doesn't mean that you're also a victim of that circumstance. So it's not saying that, oh, you're a bad person for having privilege. It's saying that, look, you have this access or this opportunity that others don't have. How are you going to use it? Because so long you're a man existing in a patriarchal society, you are benefited from patriarchy. There's no other option. There's no other way. It doesn't matter if you've never hit a woman. It doesn't matter if you've never. What are you doing? Are you checking your male friends? Because it doesn't make sense that women know at least one rapist and no guy knows a rapist. We know like at least one rape victim, but nobody knows a rapist. So I think you need to check, the men need to check themselves, check their internalized misogyny, because even the women have internalized misogyny. Even us that are sitting here, we have our own internalized misogyny that we're unlearning. So what makes you think you're an exception? So check your views, check how you see women, check other men. We do not need protection. We need men to say, stop harming us. That's why we have 16 days of activism. We're literally telling the world we're humans and we're tired. We don't want to sit down here and have these conversations. We'd rather talk about something else. But we're having this conversation. We need you to listen. We need men to listen. We cannot go far on our own, because it doesn't matter how many women are CEOs. They're still going to suffer discrimination. They can easily die of a misdiagnosed heart attack. They can easily be impacted by purity culture. So we need men to check themselves. We need men to check other men, and we need them to stop harming us. We do not need protectors. We need safety.
Thank you so much, Hauwa, for joining us, for speaking to us about your work, your incredible work, and highlighting the issues women face on a daily basis. And I hope more is done, especially with days like this when more attention and more focus is put and highlighted in these problems. So yeah,
thank you very much for having me.